Powered by Riverside FM.
A young man vanishes without a trace, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions. Did he leave willingly? Or was he a victim of foul play? And were vampires involved? Tonight on Newsworthy, two words and two question marks.
Hi, this is Ed Locke with USA Mortgage. When it comes to buying a home, the process can be overwhelming and confusing. With so many options, it can be hard to know where to start. That's why it's important to work with a certified mortgage loan originator. I have the knowledge and expertise to guide you through the process and find the best mortgage option for you. I will work with you every step of the way to ensure that you are getting the best deal possible. So if you're looking to purchase or refinance, please reach out to me at 502-680-0953. So don't take on the stress of buying a home alone. Work with me and I will make your dream a reality. Trust the professionals and make your home buying experience a positive one. MLS ID 448908, DAS Acquisition Company, LLC, doing business as USA Mortgage, MLS ID 227262. This is not a commitment to lend. Additional terms and conditions apply. USA Mortgage is equal housing opportunity.
You have scoured the podcast world and finally found us, Newsworthy with Steve and Jerry, where we delve into all things mysterious, macabre, or out of this world, and decide if they are truly newsworthy. Two words and two question marks. Hello,
Mr. Jerry.
For those that don't know, and it would only be the people who follow us very closely. We almost always put up a show on Wednesday night. And for what is it the second time in a little over 2 years? That didn't happen yesterday.
Right.
We actually recorded an episode. Went home. We were patting ourselves on the back. We thought we'd done a very good job. And we get home and begin to listen to it and found out that the audio was so bad we attempted to spend a couple hours trying to fix it and finally determined that it was a hopeless cause. And we decided to come back tonight and to try again. And I'm pretty sure this is what the 114th version that we've started tonight. Telling Steve earlier, I'm originally from Monticello, Kentucky. They have a saying down there that pretty aptly describes the best way that we could characterize our chance of having a decent show tonight. The very best I could say is we have a fair to middling chance. And that's about it. So
That's a pretty good chance as far as I go. Wow. This has been such a struggle.
First of all, the problem we think the majority of the problem last night was our mono board, our podcast soundboard that we have had a similar problem with 2 or 3 times, and we know that what we need to do is to reboot it at least once a month. Every time this issue happens, we promise ourselves that we will religiously do it from now on, and then we forget about it until the next time that there are audio problems, and we're like, darn. Forgot to reboot that thing in the last 4 or 5 months, and we hope we got the problem figured out, and fair to middling chance of that happening.
Yeah. There's that.
Absolutely. So how's your week, bud?
Well, it's been a week. That's about all I can say there, man.
Been a week. Mine's not been so good. Mine's pretty bad. I actually got fired from a job this week.
What?
All I did was ask a customer if they wanted smoking or non-smoking.
Really? Here in Kentucky, that's kind of still standard fare.
You would think, but apparently the correct terminology I was supposed to be using is cremation or burial.
I like it. That's good. I like that one. About time you come up with a good dad joke. Gosh, you were terrible for a while.
For a long time.
Oh, jeez.
For a while, maybe longer. But things are looking up in central Kentucky. The weather is calmed down.
It's almost camping time. My wife's going camping next week.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. She asked me if I was going to take any bear protection.
Bear protection.
Yeah, I told her no, I'm not even attracted to bears.
Exactly. What was you thinking?
What the hell do you need that for?
With you on that one, brother. I am with you on that one. I like that one. That's good.
Well, real quick, let's do some shout outs. First of all, yesterday we were supposed to have Jake in.
Right.
He got invited to go to the Blues Festival in Cincinnati, Ohio, at Cook Square. I posted on my Facebook for those who follow me on Facebook a small sampling of his stuff. Go check that out. Man's got so much freaking talent. If you like the blues at all, he's awesome.
How can you not like the blues?
Here's the thing with Jake. I've known him since he was little. Like held him and he had diapers on. He's a little skinny dude, but how his voice projects the way it does is freaking amazing to me. Awesome. I remember times that he would have bleeding fingers from learning how to play the guitar. He would just play and play till his fingers would
called dedication.
Bleed. Yeah, absolutely. So kudos for him. We missed having him on the show, but due to our technical difficulties, wouldn't have been able to have him anyway. It would have been a waste. So all things work out for the way they're supposed to, I think.
Absolutely.
What else? There was something else.
While you're thinking of it, I've got one. First of all, to reiterate something you said last week. Last week you gave our listeners a very good suggestion, and that is to on Twitch to pull up Nights of D20.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you haven't done so, make sure you give them a watch. This week we have another recommendation. This time for a new podcast. Miss Haley Welch. Steve's favorite 22-year-old young lady, otherwise known as the Hawk Girl, announced in a YouTube video on Tuesday that she is going to be hosting a podcast called Talk to Her. Her first episode is going to air Tuesday, September 10th. And I'm sure it's going to be very successful. And for no other reason, inquiring minds want to know.
I get that for sure. Talk to her. And I know you're going to be one of the biggest listeners, so we'll just go ahead. You'll be in there. It'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Jokingly say, or probably not even very jokingly say that I'm infatuated with her. Caitlin Clark is the young lady I'm infatuated with. That girl is having one awesome rookie year.
She is amazingly so. She has put the WNBA on her shoulders, proverbially, and that's not even a word. I don't know where that came from. I felt like George W. Bush for a second, making up words, but literally has put the WNBA on her shoulders and carrying her. Who was the star that said, "Hey, why are you complaining about this girl when you used to take a bus and now you got a jet?"
Charles Barkley was the name.
I love Charles Barkley.
Several people have, I mentioned, I think last night that not Michael, but Larry Bird and Magic Johnson were given credit as saving the NBA when they started. The NBA had fallen to all-time lows in viewership, and those two guys were given credit for saving the NBA. This girl has even done more because she didn't bring the NBA back to where it used to be. She's taken the NBA to heights far beyond what it had ever been before. So kudos to Caitlin Clark. The girl is absolutely amazing talent. For those that haven't saw, she recently had a three-point shooting contest with Steph Curry. Didn't win, but it was a very close game. The girl can play shoot. She can handle the ball. She's a great team player. She's fun to watch.
She even takes care of people who don't like her. You see where she shot the brick up and it was the ball was coming back toward the girl who was Gardner's face, and she batted it away, and the girl got mad at her.
Yeah. Later, after watching it, was like, sorry about that. She come back from a timeout. When someone showed her the video, she walked up to her, put her arm around her, and was like, sorry, I watched the video. Thanks for saving me. But class lady.
I love the videos of impromptu sports.
Sure.
And my favorite video, I think, of all time in that respect is the baseball interview, where the reporter and the guy is
barely looks.
He just sees that girl. I mean, that ball was coming off. It would kill the face. I mean, that was just like, when you talk about
barehanded.
When you talk about professional athletes, their reflexes, their reaction time, there's a reason. There's a reason they're professional. Even if they're a bench
and get better. But what they start with is so far ahead of what you and I will ever have.
Speak for yourself. I'm pretty
okay.
I taught. I knew when you were 16 kid. I was clumsy as junk, and my poor daughter got it directly from me. Just clumsy as junk. So anyway, the show we was going to produce yesterday, we're going to can that. We're going to come back to that stuff later, probably in October. Tonight we got a pretty cool one, and the coolest thing about tonight's show and another show that we're going to be doing very soon, they're listener guided. Listeners of the show let us know either through face to face, some of our friends and family, or that have PM'd us, DM'd us, and that reminds me. Anyway, I got to send a text. Friends and family who listen to the show and be like, hey, did you hear about? Do you want to do a show about? And that's where tonight's show comes from.
And the moral of the story is, if there's something you would like to see us cover, please absolutely reach out. You can email us at newsworthyWithSteveandJerry@gmail.com. You can text us at area code 540-709-1318. But yeah, please share and let us know.
Yeah. Also, if you want to help the show be better, to avoid some of these technical glitches and stuff, we now have the ability to, donate. I don't know what that's even called. You guys can help support us. You just click the link on the bottom of the description on any of our podcasts. It takes you to a page. For $1, $5, or $10 a month, you can help contribute.
If they desire, episode will work as well.
If you want to just do a one-time sum of $2 to $10 million, he's going to turn that away.
We're looking at you. Joe Rogan.
We're not going to turn that away, but you have an opportunity to support us, and that allows us to not have as many ads on the show. Basically, is what it comes down to.
Very true.
Good point. This thing, podcasting at the level we're at now costs money, and that's the hard truth of it. So. Any help be appreciated. So now let's talk about something that I never thought until I heard about it today I would ever hear coming out of my mouth. I used to live near Dayton, Ohio, just outside a little town called West Alexandria. I lived there for 6 months or so. That was the beginning of a weird time in my retail life, where my entire existence was to go around, be in a store for a couple of months, see if it was viable with the competition around in the town, and give a thumbs up or thumbs down. If it was, hey, we left it open. If it wasn't, we closed it and moved on.
Right.
And I would help the managers out there keep it viable. I mean, I was kind of experienced at that time. You know what that's like when you gain experience in real estate. No, retail. Gosh, too many R's in my past. But you can direct and help people be better. Especially when you're the eyes from the outside looking in.
That helps a lot.
Yeah, it really does. If you're in the same store for a very length of time, things start to escape your vision.
Blinders. Almost impossible not to some degree.
Yeah. So started in West Alexandria and then moved to Idaho. At the time, it was the longest company move they'd ever done. So that was really cool. Great little town in West Alexandria. Good people there, solid people. It was about 20 minutes outside of Dayton. What I didn't know was about the same time I was living there that Dayton, which is called the Gem City, had a thing going on.
Thing, you say?
Yeah. Jerry, you want to tell us about this thing?
I will. I'll digress for a second and give a little backup to it. I'm going to start with a gentleman by the name of Philip Gall. On October 13th of 1994, Philip Gall left the home that he shared with his wife, his infant daughter. He got on a local bus, a city bus, in Dayton, Ohio, and he went downtown. He got off the bus at 4th and Main Street, and the bus driver later said that he was walking towards a nearby nightclub. Sadly, he was never seen again.
What?
He was a healthy 6 foot, 250 pound, 26-year-old young man when he disappeared. He and his wife had signed a lease for a new home the week before that he disappeared. He and his family were getting ready to move. The state officially declared him dead in 2002. He was not having any personal problems at the time of the disappearance that anyone has been able to find out then or since. It was very uncharacteristic of him to leave without warning. He was employed as a roofer at the time of the disappearance. He left behind over $1,000 worth of his roofing tools. So it was obvious that he wasn't intending to leave for a period of time. Even if he was having marital problems with his wife, which he wasn't, if he was going to leave, he's going to take the tools of his trade with him so he can be able to have a job, have a career. That didn't happen. Now, these are certainly strange circumstances, but that's only where this story begins. Approximately 14 years after he disappeared, a police officer told the Dayton Daily News that he believed that Gall had been involved in a ritual. He also claimed that the bar that Gall was seen near, Asylum is the name of the bar, which is on South Main Street, was a secret meeting place for vampires.
What?
Yeah, the story, as you say, vampires. The story was that Gall was supposed to have been involved in an occult ritual in the upper floors of the bar, and a bartender told this police officer that he was then beheaded, that his head was sold as a relic. That's right. He was beheaded. He was killed as part of a ritual sacrifice. His head was cut off, and his head was sold.
Wow.
According to this is testimony from police officer David Williams. Now, Netflix made a documentary, and the family was hoping that maybe this was going to finally shed light on the disappearance and let people know what had actually happened and maybe give the family some closure. This was in the early 2020s when they began making the video. According to the Times report of the documentary, which was going to be called Vampires in Gem City, as you mentioned, Dayton is known as Gem City. The documentary was set to expose Dayton as having the second largest vampire coven in the United States. Second only to
New Orleans.
New Orleans.
One of my favorite cities, by the way. I love New Orleans.
A lot of fun. Yeah. I don't know how safe and everything we could say New Orleans is. The city's a lot of fun.
I never felt threatened in New Orleans.
It has a pretty high crime rate.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of dark alleys in New Orleans, especially downtown.
That there are.
There's a lot of dark alleys in Dayton. That's the thing.
Very true.
I think I mentioned it before, and I don't want to cut you off. But the weirdest thing that I learned about going from Kentucky to Central Ohio was how flat it is up there. It's starting to get that Midwestern flat. Everything is gridded. If you miss a road, go down a mile, turn right. It's just a big grid, right? But it would take, if I wanted to go across the street to the restaurant, it would take 30 minutes. if I wanted to go across town from West Alexandria to Wright Pat Atter Air Force Base, it would take 30 minutes.
Said the exact same thing when we did the Right Pat show.
Anywhere you wanted to go in Dayton, if you wanted to go home from work, it would take 30 minutes. It was just so weird. I can't describe it, but and I hope that other people feel that way or see that stuff too. But anyway, please continue.
Let's see where it was. Oh yeah. Dayton, second largest vampire coven in the United States. And the documentary was going to primarily feature the case of George Philip Gall. It was reported that after Gall's disappearance in '94, that Williams, a police officer undercover, went to the nightclub, and he noticed that it attracted a large gothic vampire-like crowd. And it was while he was undercover that a bartender confided in Williams and told him the story that he'd been sacrificed, that he'd been beheaded, that his head was sold actually inside the club. And Williams told the Dayton Daily News that the bartender gave enough intricate details to make the story very believable. He also says that Gale's body was placed in a storm sewer tunnel that was accessible from inside the nightclub. Now, officers did search for the body. They did not find any evidence of the crime, although they did find numerous ocular markings inside the nightclub and inside the sewer. And then Netflix dashed the family's hope and informed them that the documentary that had been finished recording was not going to be aired. No reason was given publicly, no reason was given to the family, just that they had made the decision to not air the show. And that's kind of where we are now. The family is still hoping that someone somewhere will decide to do something similar. They believe that is probably the only hope of being able to get any answers in the case.
Isn't that and hopefully we have a huge audience in Ohio. If you know anything about this case, this is from 1994, right?
1994 is when he disappeared. Yes.
Yeah. And this guy's a big dude. 6 foot, 250, 260. That's about my size. That's a pretty big dude. Wow.
I totally agree. Wow. Second largest vampire coven in Dayton, Ohio.
So
who would have thought?
We've done a couple of shows about vampires.
We have.
What's your thoughts? Is that a real thing? Is that a... I mean,
there's so much stuff on that order that it's so easy to say. And for me, I've had zero experience with everything.
Right.
No UFOs, no ghosts, no
total new
encounters. I'm just a total virgin to all of it. I've not had any experience with any of that. So it's easy for me to sit back and say, well, I know absolutely nothing about it. I don't know if anyone...
I think that gives you more insight than anybody.
Maybe a little bit.
You can be more pragmatic about it.
Possibly, yeah. I've always said the same thing, no matter what the show's about. There's two things that gets me to believing there's something there. Number one is credible sources. The majority of our credible sources are coming from undercover police officers. Those tend to be pretty credible sources. The second one that makes me really believe, and I'm talking about things like Phoenix Lights incident, is when you also have a large number of people saying the story. We don't have that in this case. We have a large number of people saying that there was a very mysterious disappearance, and we have not, again, 1994, that's what, 30 years, no sign of this young man's body. Nothing else has come up, but we do know that this young man disappeared under very unusual circumstances. We have police officers who have testimony from people working at the nightclub that says that, really weird things are going on. So, not to jump the gun. We always take a vote at the end. This one certainly needs more coverage.
Yeah, I agree with you. And this is probably going to be a shortened episode anyway because of all the technological difficulties we had. That's okay tonight. Sorry, folks. But I agree. First of all, there's a family out there that needs closure.
100%. So beyond that, sorry to interrupt. What are your thoughts about vampires in general?
Man, I don't know. You watch the movies and you're like, that just sounds so far-fetched. Right?
No, you mean? Sure.
But there was enough evidence that there was a time in society that if there was even a shadow of a doubt of a way somebody looked or the way they behaved, and if they died a certain way, that we've exhumed bodies now that were buried with literal stakes through their heart. And among other things, done to maintain, to keep the dead, if you will. Do we have a bunch of lost boys and blades running around? I hope not. Feeding on human flesh? I pray not. Right?
Sure.
I do believe in demons.
I do too.
And that sounds like very demon-like material to me. But
do you remember our Dracula episode?
Mm-hmm.
This is not something new that's come out in the 60s.
Right.
This is not something that was introduced due to excessive drug use.
Right.
These stories have been here for hundreds and hundreds of years.
Since we've developed weaponry, basically.
Kind of goes back to what I said a minute ago. That is the second thing that I look for to begin to believe there's something going on. Not saying that they're absolutely correct, because in many cases, some of these stories, I think, is just misidentification. Whether it's UFOs, and we know that a lot of it is an escape weather balloon or something on that order. But there's something.
I would never admit to it being an escape weather balloon.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not saying all of it is. I'm just saying something.
Right.
Same deal with this. I'm sure some of it was things that were facts got turned around, but it doesn't explain all of it. These stories have been around for too long.
And it also runs in cycles. You had it all the way back with Vlad the Impaler. And then it kind of dialed off for a while. And then it came back with Count Dracula, blah, blah. And then they kind of figured out. Then it comes back again with the goth movement. And it fades away.
Dayton, Ohio.
And it comes back in Dayton, Ohio. And then you have some of the weirdos, and I'm not partaking in this. Do not put this on my list. But you know I follow some pretty crazy sites, right?
No.
You know, the whole Pizzagate scandal. Not only was that a pedophile scandal, it was a, hey, we drink the blood of youth scandal to stay young. I mean, that's, and I forget the stuff that they get out of adrenal something.
Okay.
That they get out of the blood of the youth, and that's how they stay young, is what they say. But and that's another thing. It's like it all cycles around, and I'm like, really? It doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
No, I agree. Part of it does not make sense at all. Again, there's you and I said many times, whether it's cryptid, UFOs, ghosts, whatever. You can probably explain 80, 85, maybe 90, maybe 95%. You can't explain 100% of any of these, not of all of them.
No.
Just look at whether it's cryptids or vampires or whatever. When people have been telling very similar stories, huge numbers of people going back hundreds and hundreds of years. We've talked about it. You can't get one family together at a Thanksgiving table and tell a story. They're not going to be telling the Christmas time the same story. You can't get large number of people to agree on anything, much less stick with the same story for hundreds of years.
Right.
Which tells me something is going on.
Yeah, I don't think that. I just don't. Do vampires live forever? No, I don't believe so. Do I believe that there could be people out there that think that there's a benefit to doing it and do it? Probably.
I don't think there's much doubt in that.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean,
some of them are just absolutely crazy. Psychotic people, but we know that some people have decided what they need to do is drink human blood.
You know me, and that's out. I am not a vampire. No chance that I ever will be a vampire. There's a reason I eat my steak well done. I'm just saying.
No. This gentleman loves Thanksgiving turkey. He loves it so much he will actually cook the turkey. take it golden brown, set it on the stove. He leaves the kitchen. His wife comes in and does some abracadabra magic. And when Steve comes back to the kitchen, there are two bowls. One with white meat and one with dark meat. Now, he will only partake of the white. There's no sign of any bones. Those are all gone. Because if he sees bones, he will not eat the meat. I'm out. There's no danger of you being a blood drunk.
No. I'm closer to being Frankenstein's monster. With my big stars across my neck now.
You'll be life vegan way before you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'll be a veggie eater. I'll be a carrot muncher from that case. So vampires in Dayton. Thumbs up. Needs more news coverage or.
You got a police officer, undercover police officer, saying that these vampire believing people killed a man, cut his head off, and sold it until we have the final truth. Absolutely.
And we have no body, no evidence, no anything. This man's just gone. I agree with you. And if again, any of our listeners know anything about this case, even from hearsay, let somebody know. Call somebody because that's a lead that they may not have had.
Very true.
Man.
That was an interesting episode, but our journey isn't over yet. If you stay tuned, we have an exciting bonus story coming up after this commercial break.
Hi, this is Edlock with USA Mortgage. When it comes to buying a home, the process can be overwhelming and confusing. With so many options, it can be hard to know where to start. That's why it's important to work with a certified mortgage loan originator. I have the knowledge and expertise to guide you through the process and find the best mortgage option for you. I will work with you every step of the way to ensure that you are getting the best deal possible. So if you're looking to purchase or refinance, please reach out to me at 502-680-0953. So don't take on the stress of buying a home alone. Work with me and I will make your dream a reality. Trust the professionals and make your home buying experience a positive one. MLS ID 448908, DAS Acquisition Company, LLC, doing business as USA Mortgage, MLS ID 227262. This is not a commitment to lend. Additional terms and conditions apply. USA Mortgage is equal housing opportunity.
If you would like to share suggestions for future episodes, an intriguing ghost story, or simply tell us how much you love or hate us, please get in touch with us. You can reach us via email at newsworthywithsteveandjerry@gmail.com or send us a text at area code 540-709-1318.
And now, back to the story.
For tonight's bonus story, Jerry, we're going to the jungle habitat of Indonesia.
Nice.
Thought to be one of the most fearsome mythical creatures in all of Southeast Asia, the ahool. I just like saying that word. is a huge bat-like creature with the body of a bat and the head of what some say resemble a primate. The ahool is said to be 10 feet tall when standing upright and have a wingspan of over 30 feet. Most ahool sightings have occurred in the jungles of Java, but reports have come in of the beast sightings all across Indonesia, the Philippines, and Papua New Guinea. Reported sightings can be very difficult to verify because the beast only shows itself at night. The ahool has large red eyes, red-skinned wings, large claws on its forearms, and a distinct red fur on its body. While some have said the ahool looks a whole lot like the world's largest known bat species, the golden crowned flying fox, other reports of the ahool estimate that the beast has to be at least 3 times larger than a flying fox. Research suggests that the ahool mainly eats small animals and fish. However, some stories have said the beast has in fact preyed on humans before. Maybe it bit their neck.
Yeah.
Particularly when it can find them alone in the jungle at night. The beast is extremely territorial and will attack intruders to protect its home. So if you're in Indonesia, beware of the ahool.
Absolutely.
Also, before we go, just wanted to say thank you, Curtis, for the inspiration for this show.
Yeah, totally.
And Jerry, if you can't see the light,
be the light.